some technical difficulties here. We are back streaming. That is a point for your Jaguars to start off set 2. Here's Stella with the serve. Received by Gilmour. Gilmour with the serve. And that is a kill for Annie. Here's Annie with the serve. Nice block there. And that is out, point Jaguars. Number 5 with the serve. Serve for the Lancers. Received by Annie. Point for the Jaguars. Here's Molly with the serve. That is a point for the Jags. Here's Molly again with the serve. That is out. Another point for your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars. Molly is one of our seniors this year, along with many others who have contributed so much to the program. And that's a point for your Jaguars. Score now 7-4 Jags. Here's Jazzy with the serve. Nice diving save there. Another block there for the Jags. Jaguars unable to get to that last. Here are the Lancers with the serve. Score is now 6-7 Jaguars. I'm sure all of you have heard 6-7. Jaguars unable to get to that one. Now it is 7-7. Gilmour with the serve. Received by Molly. That's a point for your Jaguars. Here is Milani with the serve. That is a nice block by Gilmour for the point. Number 6 with the serve. Nice little touch for a point for the Jags. J-Lease with the serve. Nice save there. Another save. Jaguars keeping this rally going. That's a point for the Lancers. Free point for the Jaguars. Here's Stella with the serve. Jaguars unable to receive that one. Point Lancers. Score now 10 across the board. Lancers unable to receive. That is another point for the Jaguars. It's 11-11. Here's Annie with the serve. Gilmour shanks that one, point for the Jaguars. Here's Annie again with the serve. And that is a point for your Jags. Point for the Lancers. Shout out to St. Mark. It looks like most of the CYO volleyball players in the stands right now are from there. Here's Gilmour with the serve. Just outside, point for the Lancers. There's a point for the Jags. Lancers unable to receive that ball. Here's Molly with the serve. Jaguars unable to receive that. Just before this, I am a member of Ultimate Fan Club, so I was teaching some future Jags some cheers. Our cheers include Get It Jaguar, we also have Jaguar Rumble, Repeat After Me, it's the classic, when I say 18 you say 90. Jaguars keeping this rally going. I was talking with Lily Sanfilippo, who is also on our varsity volleyball team. She has her favorite cheer as Get It Jaguar, and that is a classic SJA cheer. When asking her Oreo cream pie or orange chicken, she also said Oreo cream pie. You see a trend here. It is always sold out. For middle school, Lily went to Avon. And also, Stella for middle school went to Westlake. So they are representing their middle schools here at Youth Night. Point for your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars. Here's Jazzy with the serve. Jaguars try to keep that up. Here is Gilmour with the serve. Just tipped off the net. Gilmour tries to block, but is unsuccessful. Here's number 6, Milani, with the serve. Both teams are incredibly skilled again, and that is why this game has been such a fun game to watch and really close in score. Lancers unable to keep the ball in play. Point to the Jaguars. Jaguars unable to receive. Point Lancers. Timeout on the court. Score 17-19 Lancers. Tomorrow is our first pep rally of the year. Our theme is game night. I'm a sophomore, so sophomores are dressing up as Candyland. I gotta find all my gear, thinking of a tutu with some maybe tie-dye. Pep rallies are a lot of fun and a really great way for the SJA community to come together with the classes competing against each other. This game for the classes to compete is, we have dodgeball this time. It's always super exciting to watch, cheer on our classmates, cheer on the other classes. The teachers get involved too. Also kicking off tomorrow is our Jaguar Jackpot. And that means if you know anyone who is a student at SJA, they need to sell their tickets. So reach out to them. As soon as we sell our tickets, we can have Joe's Clothes shirts. We don't have to wear our polos. It's always a really fun treat once we sell our tickets. Here is Gilmour with the serve. Jaguars unable to return the ball. Point Lancers. Number 2 for the Lancers with the serve. To the net. Point for the Lancers. Another timeout on the court. Score 17-22 Lancers. Also, another event coming up. Very, very busy for the Jaguar community right now. We have Freshman Welcome coming up. Freshman Welcome is a huge way for the seniors to welcome our freshmen into the school. There is a theme every year. As I was a freshman last year, our theme was Monsters, Inc. Since our freshman color is green and the senior color is blue, we were Mike and Sully. It's a really fun day where we get lots of candy. Every time a senior stops us in the hallway, we have to do a little dance that they prepare for us. It's a really fun way to meet our big sisters of SJA. Here is Gilmour, number 2 at the serve. Received by Milani. Jaguars unable to reach that one. Point for the Lancers. Lancers unable to receive that one. Point for the Jags. Stella with the serve. Nice. Great saves by the Jaguars. Just unable to reach that last one. Score 19-24 Lancers. Annie with the serve. And that's an ace. Annie again with the serve. There's a successful block by the Lancers. Second set goes to the Lancers. It is now set 3 of your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars versus the Gilmour Lancers. For those just tuning in, the Lancers have won the past 2 sets. Jaguars need to lock in and try to get these next to stay in the game. Nice block there by the Jags. First point on the board for the third set. Here's a serve by Annie. Jaguars unable to receive. Point for the Lancers. Gilmour with the serve. Molly receives. Jaguars unable to tip it over the net. Point for the Lancers. Josie's got her little pom-pom hyping up the crowd right now. Nice block by Gilmour right there. Point for them. Timeout on the court. 1-5 Lancers. It is now time for timeout trivia. Next timeout, we will announce the answer. Today's trivia question is, what year was St. Joseph Academy founded? What year was St. Joseph Academy founded? Answer will be announced at the next timeout. Here are the Lancers with the serve. That ball is spiked out by the Lancers. Point for the Jags. Here's Molly with the serve. Nice block there by the Jags. Just on the line there for a point for the Lancers. Score now 2-7 Lancers. Nice recovery there by the Jags. Jaguars unable to receive that kill. Score now 2-8 Lancers. Gilmour with the serve. Lancers unable to send that back over. Point for the Jaguars. Here's Jazzy with the serve. Point for the Lancers. Lancers with the serve. That is out. Free point for the Jaguars. Here's Milani with the serve. Josie going crazy with her pom-poms for Milani. There's a point for the Jaguars. Milani with the serve. Jaguars unable to receive that kill. Score now 5-11 Lancers. Number 6 for Gilmour with the serve. Blocked by Gilmour for the point. Point for the Jaguars. That was Jalise with the serve. Diving, but unable to receive the hit. Number 2 for Gilmour with the serve. And that is into the net. Point for the Jaguars. Here's Stella with the serve. That ball is out. Point for the Jaguars. There's Stella again with the serve. Point for your Jags. Go, Josie. Go, Josie. Josie's again dancing, hyping up the crowd. Love seeing her at all the games with all the future Jags. Stella with the serve. Nice pancake there by Molly. Point for the Jaguars. Want to give a really quick shout out to all the people, faculty and staff who make the games at SJA here possible and Jaguar possible. Want to give a big shout out to Mr. Gunsberg for helping me get all the equipment set up for today during activity blocks. And also a huge shout out to Mrs. Hensley and Mrs. Cunningham. Here's Annie with the serve. Nice block by the Jaguars. That is a point. And there's a timeout on the court. Time to announce the answer to what year was St. Joseph Academy founded. The answer to our trivia question is 1890. When I say 18, you say 90. 1890. 1890. Score 12-14 Lancers. It's been a really close game so far. Both teams are playing their best. There's great communication on the court. Here's Annie with the serve. Unfortunately, goes into the net. Point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 18,
Serve for the Lancers. Nice block for the Jaguars. Number 8 and number 10 blocking duo. Shout out to Lila and Maddie. A little bit of a miscommunication on the court for that last play.
Serving for Gilmour, number 10, Tiara Whitman.
Point for the Lancers. Here's the Lancers with the serve. Received by Annie. Nice set there by Stella. Jaguars unable to receive. Point Lancers. Score is now 13-18 Lancers in the third set. There's a timeout on the court. Well, hello there for our viewers just joining us. My name is Alexi Actis. I'm a sophomore here at SJA. I'm the head of Jagwire. Some other things I am involved in is I am a part of the SJA cross country team. Just had practice right before this, getting my mileage in for the season. I'm also part of the varsity softball team here at SJA. I'm also a student ambassador, so look out for all the shadowing dates coming up for our 6th and 7th graders, and especially our 8th graders. You can shadow any student ambassador and see how you can picture yourself here at SJA for a day as a Jaguar. Jaguars unable to receive that ball. Point Lancers. Here's Lancers with the serve. Gilmour with the serve. Just hit the line, point for the Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 1, Jesse Ocasio.
Here's Jazzy with the serve. Tipped over the net. That is an ace for Jazzy. Jazzy with the serve. Just outside, point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 12, Emily Tish.
Number 12 for Gilmour with the serve. Received by Jazzy. Saved right there by Gilmour. To Molly. Nice set by Stella. And that's a point for your Jaguars. Today is September 2nd. We are into the burr months. The weather is getting cooler out, and it is perfect running weather, I think. I love it when it's colder out. It's also really nice on campus. We have a beautiful campus. We can go sit outside to eat lunch and during activity blocks to do our work. It's the perfect place to socialize with friends and take a break from classes in the middle of the day. Here's Milani with the serve. Into the net for Gilmour, point for the Jaguars. Jaguars unable to receive the ball. Point for Gilmour.
Serving the floor, number 6, Layla Manners.
There's a point for your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 2, Jalise Martinez. Jaguars.
That ball was spiked out by Gilmour. Point for the Jaguars. Nice save there by the Jags. And that ball is in. Point for the Jaguars. It is 22-22, set 3. Here's Jay Lees with the serve. Tips over the net. Right back to Jay Lees. And there's a point for the Jaguars by freshman Stella with the set over the net. There's a timeout on the court. Got to keep the energy up for the Jags. UFC leading some more chants in our student section. Here's Jay Lees with the serve. Nice save by Jay Lees there. Another save by Jay Lees. Over the net. Jaguars unable to get to that ball right there. Now tied 23-23. Here is number 2 for Gilmour with the serve. Into the net, point for your Jaguars. 23-24. Here's Stella with the serve. And the Jaguars win the third set. Jaguars are in it to win it.
Score of the third set, St. Joseph Academy 25, Gilmour 23.
So far, the Lancers have 2 sets, Jaguars 1. Moving on to the 4th set. Quick little break here, about 3 minutes. Jag coming back on the court. They're really excited, ready to get at this 4th set. Here's number 9, Stella, with the serve. That's a point for your Jaguars. Here's Stella again with the serve. And that was tipped in by the Lancers for a point.
Serving for Gilmour, number 22, Sealy.
There's a point for your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 5,
Tipped over the net for an ace for Annie. Here's Annie again with the serve. Into the net, point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 18,
Lancers with the serve. That ball is out. Point for the Jaguars. 4-2 Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 4, Molly Sullivan.
Here's Molly with the serve. And a nice block right there by your Jaguars, number 10 and number 14 for a point. Another block by the duo.
Serving for Gilmour, number 10, Jagwire.
Serve for the Lancers. Jaguars unable to receive that ball. Point for the Lancers. Score now 5-4 Jaguars. Here's number 10 for the Lancers with the serve. Nice save there. Score now tied 5-5. Ball into the net, Jaguar point.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 1, Jesse Ocasio. Serving for Gilmour, number 12, Emily Gish.
Number 12 for the Lancers with the serve. Nice block there by the Jags. Incredible rallies here for both teams. Lancers do take that point. Scores now 6-7. Shout out to Mrs. Actis and Mrs. Mazurek. They're the leaders of our Ultimate Fan Club. Coming up, we have a painting party for some jeans or sweatpants to get into Jaguar spirit. Tonight's theme was also Jag Out. We do love our Jaguar print. That is a staple here at SJA. Here's number 6 for Gilmour with the serve. ball is shanked by the Jaguars. Point for the Lancers. Here's number 6 again for Gilmour. Jaguars coming together, lifting each other up, being the incredible teammates they are. That was in. Point for the Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 2, Martinez.
Jalise with the serve. Nice block by the Jags! Shout out to Stella. She is having an amazing game today. Jalise with the serve. Score 9-11 Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 28, Avery Martin.
Gilmour with the serve. And that is a kill for the Jags. Way to go, Annie.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 9, Stella Welch.
Here's Stella with the serve. And there's a block for the Jaguars. There's another duo, number 8 and number 5. Lila and Annie. Stella with the serve. Unfortunately, into the net. Point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 22, Mira Seaman.
22 with the serve. Just outside, point for the Lancers. Little communication error on the court for Gilmour. Point Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 5, Annie Kolkar.
Here's Annie with the serve. That ball is out. Point Jaguars. Score is now 13-13 in the 4th set. Here's Annie with the serve again. And that is an ace for Annie. Ace for Annie. Ace, ace for Annie. Annie with the serve again. There's a point for your Jaguars. Number 5 with the serve. Tip the net. Nice block by your Jaguars. Annie with the serve. Great try to save that ball by Molly. Score now 16-14, your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars.
Serving for Gilmour, number 18, Ethan Pike.
Here's number 18 for Gilmour with the serve. Point Jaguars. Molly did a Michael Jackson there to try and stay clear of the ball. Here's Molly with the serve. There's a block by the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 10, Jagwire.
Gilmour with the serve. That is out. Point for the Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 1, Jesse Oasu.
Here's Jazzy with the serve. Tipped over the net. Gilmour receives it. Great rally there by both teams. Point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 12, Emily Fish.
Here's Gilmour with the serve. Molly receives. Gilmour unfortunately unable to return the ball. Jaguars with a point.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 6, Melanie Murillo.
Here's Milani with the serve. Nice block there by the Jags. Tipped off of Gilmour's fingers. Point for the Jags. Score now 20-16 Jags. Here's Milani with the serve. Gilmour shanks that ball, unable to send it back over the net. Point for the Jaguars. Here's Milani again with the serve. That ball is sent flying. Point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 6, Ayla Andrews.
Here's number 6 for Gilmour with the serve. very close kill right there. Was a point for the Lancers. There's a point for your Jags.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 2, Jaylise Martinez.
Here's number 2, Jaylise with the serve. Nice try on a save there by Milani. Score now 22-19, your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars.
Serving for Gilmour, number 28, Avery Martin.
And there's a kill for number 5, point for our St. Joseph Academy Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 9, Stella Welch.
Here's Stella with the serve. Jaguars unfortunately not able to receive that one. Point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 22, Mira Siebert.
That ball is sent flying by the Lancers. Point for the Jags.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 5, Annie Kolpai.
Here's Annie with the serve. Jaguars unable to send that one back over the net. Score 24-21.
Serving for Gilmour, number 18, Aiden Carter.
Let's go, Jaguars! And that ball is way out. Jaguars win the 4th set. I called it. It's a very close game.
Score of the 4th set, St. Joseph Academy 25, Gilmour 21.
Sets 1 is 2-2 for the Jaguars and Lancers. And we are back in the fifth and final set.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 9.
Here is Stella with the serve. Lancers unable to send the ball back over the net. That is an ace for freshman Stella.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 9, Stella Welsh.
Here's Stella again with the serve. Point for the Lancers.
Serving by Gilmour, number 18, Aiden Piper.
Point for the Lancers. Here's Gilmour with the serve. Jaguars unable to receive that ball. Ace for the Lancers. Serve for the Lancers. Received by Annie. And that's a kill for Annie.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 5, Annie Kokar.
Here's Annie with the serve. Unfortunately goes into the net. Point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 28, Avery Martin.
There's a kill for number 11. Way to go, Hayden.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 4, Molly Sullivan.
Here's Molly with the serve. And that's in. Point for the Jaguars. Here is Molly again with the serve. Point for the Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 22, Mira Seabrook.
Here's Lancers with the serve. Gilmour unable to return that ball. Point for the Jaguars.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 1, Jazzy Ocasio.
There's a pancake by the Lancers. And that ball's out. Point for the Jaguars. Here's Jazzy with the serve. Unsuccessful block by the Jags. Point Lancers.
Serving for Gilmour, number 6,
Number 6 for the Lancers with the serve. It is now 6-7 Lancers. Point for the Jags.
Serving for the Jaguars, number 6, Milani Margot.
Here is Milani with the serve. Point for the Jags. Milani with the serve again. And that is out. Point for the Jaguars. Number 6 with the serve. Gilmour unable to receive. Point Jaguars. Called a timeout on the court. Jaguars are getting fired up. Milani with the serve. Nice block there by the Jags. And that's a kill by Annie. Score now 11-7, your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars. Here's Milani with the serve. Miscommunication there on the Lancers. Point Jaguars. Gilmour just called a timeout, trying to slow our roll. Here's Milani again with the serve. Nice dig there by Jazzy. And that is a kill by Annie. Milani with the serve. Into the net by the Lancers. Point Jaguars. Score is now 14-7. Point Lancers. Here are the Lancers with the serve. And that's a point for your Jaguars! The Jaguars have won the game! The final score, 15-8. Your St. Joseph Academy Jaguars! Big shout outs to Annie and Stella. They had amazing games tonight. Way to go to all of the Volley Jags. Big shout out to our JV and freshman Volley Jag teams as well. And thank you to all of our viewers for watching the first broadcast of the year of Jagwire. This is Alexi Actis signing out.